All right, guys, without further ado, the wait is over. We are joined here by Marlins starting pitcher Dan Straily. Dan, come on in.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, how are you, Dan? So I know you're a busy man. We're going to go jump right into the questions here. My
Sounds
first
good.
question is, when you first started playing pro baseball, you were assigned to a minor league team. What was it like down there in the minors, getting ready to come to the majors, working on your arm, getting better? Like, how was it down there in the minors?
So, yeah, there's been like one person ever to just like go straight to the major league. So it's kind of the route almost everyone takes. And, you're just I was a 24th round draft pick. I was just a kid that I was 20 years old, and I just wanted a chance. And I knew that I wasn't going to make much money in the minor leagues, but that was never the goal, was to stay there. It was just I had a dream and an idea of what I wanted to do with my life, and I just really just started, went to work, and a lot of stuff kind of has to fall your way, and a lot of really good opportunity was in front of me, and I was able to perform well given those opportunities. But the minor leagues is it's a whole other animal, man. Like you're not staying in very good hotels, you're not eating very good food, you're not having very good hours, and you're expected to play really good baseball, and so. It's designed to kind of weed out the guys that aren't ready to give it everything they got.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, Dan. In 2012, you were called up to the Oakland A's. What was your first impression of finally being in the show?
Oh, man, my first impression of the show was it was a Friday night in Oakland, and I never had been on the field during a major league game or anything. And it was I walked out on the field, and ended up being like a little over 30,000 people in the game that night, and it was quite the experience. I was walking down the line, and like this whole group of fans just started yelling my last name and chanting it, and I was just kind of like started getting the chills, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, is this real? Like, I couldn't believe it, and ended up being an 18-inning baseball game that we won, and it was kind of the longest night of my life, I think. I ended up playing. I want to say I got home at like 2:30 in the morning or something like that right after the game ended, and it was a marathon, but it was quite the experience. I had about 50 family and friends that came down from Oregon to come check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, man. And going to another question here. In 2016, you posted your best career numbers with the Reds and the Marlins, and what could you credit for having that year? What could you credit the most of having that best career year?
Oh yeah, man. Going into 2016, I was out of options, and I was just kind of in terms of like service time, I was out of options to get optioned to the minor leagues, and I knew that. And I was going into spring training, and I just kind of quit putting pressure on myself as an athlete, and I was just able to finally understand what it meant to just like kind of live in the moment, be in the moment, where obviously. Like you're going out there and you're competing with everything you have, and I'm able to leave it on the line and understand that like my best is good enough. And I wasn't trying to be someone I wasn't. I was just going out there and giving everything I had and was living with the results. And before I know it, like started getting confidence and more confidence and more confidence. And that's kind of all you need when you're a guy that's kind of up and down like I was at the start of my career. Is you just kind of need that like that initial confidence boost of just like, oh man, like I'm meant to be here. And it's been it's been kind of on that wave for a long time, and it's just kind of like after a while you whenever something doesn't go quite your way, like, or something isn't like falling your way, you feel like you're still able to ride that same wave of confidence of understanding like, hey, like, this is where I belong. There's no doubts about who I am as a ball player. There's no doubts about who I am as a competitor. Like, this is it. Like, I belong here. And that was kind of the year for me that it really transformed into kind of a question as to it, and then transformed into a statement for myself that I do belong here.
Mm-hmm. Let me go backwards a year. In 2015, you split time with Houston and the minors. Now, because you were not with Houston most of the year, did you feel that you maybe took a step backward? And what did you do to get the attention of the people in charge to notice that you were ready to be in the show again?
So you don't think of it as a step backwards, because as a fan, like, you guys might see that kind of stuff where you're like, oh, this is a step backwards to the minor leagues. No, it's just everybody has their own path and their own journey and their own career, and that was just the route mine was on. I was coming off of an injury year basically where I wasn't able to pitch the way that I'm capable of because I was limited by what my arm was allowing me to do. And it was kind of like, that was just the path that my career took. The moment you like accept defeat and be like, oh, I got demoted, like this kind of stuff, like you might as well just go ahead and keep packing and just go ahead and keep going home because you're done. Like as soon as you admit defeat to yourself, like you're done. And so it was just kind of one of those things where it was just my route. It was my career path, and I was able to just kind of keep my head in the right spot and keep moving forward. And in terms of getting to people to notice, that's not my job as a pitcher. My job is to go pitch, and that's what I kind of preach to everyone around me all the time. Like it's not your job to worry about going up, getting sent down, coming up, when am I coming back? Like that's your job is to go pitch. And if you take care of yourself and you pitch the best of your abilities, the rest will take care of itself. The guys will notice, the right people will see you. Like no one's ever gone out there and been, like, oh, I belong in the major leagues for so many years in a row and like never make it. Like that's just not the way it works. Like the major leaguers play in the major leagues. And understanding that, like I knew that like I always felt I was a major leaguer, and it was just a matter of continuing to show that start after start that I was able to grab the attention of whoever saw it that got me back up to the major leagues and there to stay.
For sure, man, for sure. Another question. Obviously this team right now for the Marlins in 2019, very young team, unestablished some of the players. You got pitchers like Sandy Alcantara, who's young coming in, Pablo Lopez, who pitched last year but is still young coming in. How do you help the younger guys get ready for the season this year? How do you get the younger guys ready for spring training? How do you get them ready to go?
Well, I mean, that's the job of our staff. But as a guy that they're going to look to and ask, like, hey, my job is to just be there for them whenever they have questions about anything. And it might not be like the simple baseball stuff. A lot of times that's like the stuff that guys understand. It's the, how do I do this? How do that? Where do I find a place to live in Miami? How do you make guys more comfortable around you to be in the big leagues? I think that's the big part, because one thing a lot of people don't realize is, like I live in Central Oregon. So when I go to Miami every year, I'm finding a place to live. I'm like getting used to the community again. I'm finding like, I now know where I like to live and where I like to be, but it took me a long time when I first got there to understand like the parts of the city I enjoyed being in, where I enjoyed going out from my days off, where I enjoyed going out to eat, or where I enjoyed spending my time with my family. And so it's kind of things like that where you're kind of helping guys get comfortable, because as soon as you can get comfortable in the major leagues, then you're able to see like the true athlete that's inside there. And unfortunately, not everyone's given enough opportunity for us to see, like in the major leagues, for us to see the true competitor inside, because a lot of times guys aren't given enough opportunity, or they're not given enough opportunity. They were not able to excel in the opportunity that they were given in order to earn more opportunity.
Yeah, actually, to follow up on that, Dan, living in Central Oregon, how different is it from playing up there to come down to Miami every year for spring training and for the whole season? You got a lot of traveling, of course, but it's like very different. You're in the city, Miami, and Oregon, and it's got a city as well. But how does it feel going from Miami to Oregon? What's the difference there?
I mean, just to give you an example, it snowed like 6 inches at my house yesterday. Like you've never been able to say that in South Florida. So that alone right there is a big difference. Like, I look out my back door and I can see mountains. That's another difference. I guess it's just a whole different area. I live in a town of 90,000 people right around. It's a ski town, so like there's just, it's like a tourist in and out of town, but it's just a completely different place. Like my whole side of town, there's not even stop signs, there's not even stop signs or stoplights. It's just roundabouts. And so it's just like, everything about it is different, but like, it's kind of like comes with the territory of being a Major League Baseball player. You get a chance to go to all these different places and see all these different amazing cultures and meet all these amazing people, and it's really fun to travel around and see all the different places. I'm so used to traveling. This has been my 10th year. I'm going into my 11th year of professional baseball. It's like the travel part, it's just kind of like, we're so used to that as a family that part doesn't really faze us anymore, but it's always fun for us to get down there and see different cultures and different communities and really like try to experience like different parts of the country. Because, as you guys know, I've traveled around a little bit in my career, but getting a chance to see all these different places has been one of the really nice perks of it.
Yeah, and does your family actually come down with you, or they just come down to visit, or